and welcome to the Coaxum Report. This is Terry Coaxum, and I'm super excited today to be joined by Miss Monet Shepherd, Mo Money Mo. I was so happy to have Monet come on today. Monet's going to talk to us a little bit about what she's doing in Mo's Hair Hut and what she's also doing in Wonderful Hair Inc. and all the wonderful things that she's looking to do in the future. So before we get started, for those of you that are just tuning in to the Coaxum Report, you can catch us on our TV network. I encourage you to download the app. You can also catch us on Roku. You can catch us on Amazon. You can catch us on Android. So we're all over. We're also going to be rebroadcast on Tempo. And in addition to that, you can listen to us simultaneously on the radio at WXTX Bloomberg. So that's Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, Roku. Download the app, OutTV.network. Watch us live on any of the other channels and listen to us again on Tempo. So bless you, Mo Money. How are you today? How's it going?
Oh, I'm good. I'm happy to have finally made it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mo, I want you to talk to our listening audience a little bit. I have guests come on each week to talk about some of their barriers, best practices, and big ideas, how they landed in the space they are in right now. And then we want to give solutions to those that are listening in. And in case you don't know, our show is broadcast all over the world. And so, don't be surprised if someone tag you in from Trinidad and Tobago or from Jamaica or Africa in the continent and say, hey, I saw you on the Coaxum Report. So just so happy that you were able to join us. Want you to talk about what you're doing in your space. More importantly, who is Mo Money Shepherd?
Never gonna let you live it down. Yeah. Well, okay, so Mo's Unisex Hair Hut is a business established. We're about to have our 12-year anniversary.
Whoa, 12 years. Good job.
August will be our 12 years. It's a woman-owned minority business. I'm sole proprietor. And I guess since COVID and all of these other natural disasters, I'll call them, that we're having, beauty business has kind of pivoted into a lot of things.
Yes.
So I find myself moving away from just being behind the chair so much and getting a little more into the serious and how to help people recover, things like that. And then I've been venturing just a little further into my DOE bending, and I'm starting to give teen programs and starting to further education and kind of moving more toward becoming an educator and
Nice.
more of a giver in the community than just a hairstylist. I'd like to retire gracefully.
Nice. So what you're saying is you're pivoting. So you're literally diversifying your portfolio, so to speak, as it relates to Mo's Hair Hut and Wonderful Hair. So you have looked, and that's the thing about COVID, right? So the barrier was, of course, we were inside, right? The barrier was there was no foot traffic, right? But then they came all these big ideas, right? And these best practices, and you were able to pivot. You were able to now look at other opportunities to not just to do hair behind a chair, to do some consults online, different spaces.
Yeah, and to become a little more important with my hair community, because everybody does hair. They got YouTube videos, everybody's granddaughter, everybody's doing hair. But what are we doing about hair loss? And how are we contributing to people emotionally that are suffering in our chair? I have a lot of clients who have been my client for 20, 30 years. And so we're all maturing together. And they're losing their hair, and they were on medication, and they have cancer or whatever's going on. And so I've mastered how to make them look good without hair and look like they have natural hair growing from the scalp. But what are we doing for them as the people that look for me to cater to, them emotionally with their hair?
Right.
So I'm now trying to offer inspiration, and that's where Wonderful Hair Inc. came in.
Right. So let me ask you a question before we even get there. What are some of the barriers?
Did we lose? I thought we went out. So Wonderful Hair Inc. is a non-for-profit that I developed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Your face is frozen, but I can still hear you. I think it's a little bit of a connection issue.
Oh, we have a little technical issue. Yeah.
Some
Okay,
technical
I can
issues.
hear you now, though.
Technology is great when it works. Before you get into talking about
Yeah.
multiple here, I want you to talk about some of the barriers. Like, what are some of the things? Because you're in a space, right, that is predominantly a woman-owned space. Like, there's a lot of women-owned businesses that are doing hair. I have more women business salons than I have male business salons, right? So, talk to me a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about the barriers that you face uniquely as a Black woman in the space on 125th Street, been there for years. You have a clientele that follows you, that continues to be, because you're saying 30 years, that's longevity. Like, that is
Yeah.
an opportunity for you to be able to grow these beautiful individuals and in their spaces and meet them where they are. But what are some of the barriers before you even get to that the big ideas? Because Multiple Hair Inc. is that big idea. That's the thing that came out of
Yes.
it. But what are some
Yes.
of
Yes.
the
That's true.
barriers that you had before you got to this point? Because you, again, you've been in this space a long time, um,
Mm-hmm.
and there's been so many different renditions of it, because you have been able to be flexible in your offerings because you are a community person. You know your community, you have your
Mm-hmm.
hands on the pulse of it. So talk to me about some of those barriers that you've had to face in the space of being in a salon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I guess also starting like during COVID was really for me the biggest like shocker and eye opener.
Yes.
And it led me to have to continue to educate myself. Like we learned hair and how to master the hair and how to make everybody look good, maybe how to get a client in. And I've mastered even how to keep clients. I
Nice.
think me keeping clients just has to do with the family oriented environment that I offer. And, um, the relationship that I develop with the people that sit in my chair, they come and they look for that. And there's a certain expectation when it comes to the shop. So having ambiance and stuff like that has helped me maintain the clientele. But I also feel like some of my barriers were really just learning how to understand and get all the knowledge I could to learn how to run business on a bigger scale than just a client and a booking and what was my rate. How to learn how to get funding for my business to
Right.
keep myself afloat during, the winter times and when it's snowing, in the environment that I live in New York. I have to worry about weather conditions, just up and down times. Sometimes hair can be very seasonal. So it took me a while to start to understand the opportunities that were available to me, getting like women certified, some small minority business. Those are certain things that weren't spoken of when entering the beauty world. It's like
Right.
everything that you have to learn is not coming from like a school or even a friend.
Right.
I had to like learn through research and being part of other organizations and stuff like that and getting that kind of information processed into my head for me to even think about it, you know,
Right.
and just opening my mind not to be intimidated by the government and paperwork,
That's right.
because yeah, doing
Very,
hair, you just want to do that. You don't want to
right. And
read,
paperwork is
you don't want to
very,
write. Yeah, you don't want to sit in front of the computer and type up an essay about what.
right. I mean, I think this is phenomenal because you're able, because of the space you're in, you're able to intertwine the barriers,
Yeah.
and then you have
Yeah, so I think that having the proper knowledge to help you understand that there are a lot more opportunities, especially for minorities,
yes, yes.
and other ways to scale your business or what you can offer your community has been a large barrier for me and a long time coming for me to understand it. And
Okay,
I'm
wow,
finally just getting
good.
in that.
Well, first of all,
Mhm.
I just want to commend you for being open, right? To study your craft, to look at other avenues, to get minority business certified, to work through all these processes so that you can have these offerings for your clients. So that's number one. The good thing, and
Mhm.
I'm loving this because you're able to look at some of the barriers, and some of the barriers, of course, was COVID, right? So you were able to
Mhm.
look at other offerings and bring them to your community, to go out into the community, to be a community person. Then another barrier you talked about was retraining yourself, learning new skills and being able to bring that to the forefront. So you were able to do that. Like you said, okay, now I'm looking
Mhm.
at things, and you brought that aboard. Then you talked about another barrier, which was the government the government certification process, and not wanting to be
Mm-hmm.
in front of a computer, but being able to overcome that and get in front of the computer and do the things that you needed to do to get certified. So I'm going to pause right there because you're glossing on over all of it like it's an easy thing to do, and none of it was easy.
And it's not. It's not. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
on the other side of it that you can kind of
Yeah.
look back now. But for those that are listening in, right, and you have a hair salon and you have a beauty business, wonderful hair, and you want to do more, Mo's your example, right? She's telling you right now, here's some of the things that I had to do to be able to pivot, right? And so it was tenacity, right? It was your network. It was utilizing your resources. It was looking for additional resources. It was, leaning on your community. It was all of these things that enabled you to open up your mind, to open up your business, and to be able to do more. And so I didn't want you to gloss over it too much because there's
Mm-hmm.
people that are listening now saying, how do I get over this hurdle?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like four hurdles, and then you name the solutions right along with it. You're like, okay, this was a hurdle, but here's a best practice. This is another hurdle, but here's a best practice. Like you were
Right. Right.
right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I can say is, one of the largest challenges is just to be able to settle and relax and get into a temperament where you can concentrate. Sometimes when you're in the beauty business, the clientele is going fast, the money is moving fast, the appointments are booked, you're busy all of your busy days, and then you want your downtime and you still want to be a people. You have to really be able to sit down and think things out and read and concentrate and find a point of focus. And I think for me, COVID sat me down because we were closed. I had no other option but to sit down and figure out, what am I going to do? So, and if you can't sit down and do that, because we hopefully don't have another COVID like that, then don't be afraid to find the people or the resources and pay for the resources to do the work that you don't have the temperament to do. Maybe you're not everything. Everybody's not administrative.
Right.
So sometimes, but then you talk to certain people and they're like, well, our agency charges this and with that. And they're like, what? I'm not spending that, but don't be afraid to invest
Right.
in self to
That's
get
right.
something done that you just can't do by yourself.
So I need you to
Even if you think you're going to sit.
that's another best practice. I need you to pause for a minute because
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that I want to be able to get small businesses to understand, because the goal is to build wealth. The goal
Yes.
is not just to work a 9 to 5 and to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to build wealth, right? And in
Mm-hmm.
order to do that, you have to tag in these other things. You have to tag in a marketing component. Let's back up even further. Before COVID, I had clients that said, I don't need a device to be able to calculate my purchases. I don't need a Square. I don't need a website. I don't really need a marketing plan right now because my business, I have foot traffic. Folks are walking
Mm-hmm.
into my business, into my restaurant, into my store and purchasing my wares. COVID shut all that down, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then we
Mm-hmm.
were able to kind of look and reassess to say, wait a minute, if I had an online presence, I would still be doing business right now. If I had an opportunity for folks to pay through PayPal or Square or any of the other devices, or I could still be doing business right now. So then they came,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now what is that you said again about having multiple streams of income or having avenue to be able to have my stuff make money for me in my sleep? Like, what is that thing that you talked about, which is what you were able to do? So I don't want to gloss over that because now that the world is the world and you can do business all over the world, whether you are offering your services as a consult to someone in India or whether you're physically present in a mobile setting or a different event offering your services to high school children and high school youth, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are able to now do that in a big way. There's tutorials all over the world, right? So you can actually
Mm-hmm.
get on YouTube and have foot traffic come to your YouTube that drives that traffic into your physical location, into your online location, and more importantly, into your pocket. Because at the end of the day, if you're in
That's good.
business and you're
Yeah.
not making money, you're not
Yeah.
in business, you just have a hobby, right?
Yes.
So you're
Yes.
able to have a business. And so for those of you that are listening to Mo is saying invest in yourself. Tag in the resources that you need to get you where you need to be at. And if you're unsure, tag them in, because there's someone out there that can take an assessment of your business and be able to give you a blueprint of what your next step should be so that you're making money all the time. And there is no lack of money, Mo. And I tell people that all the time. The money is there. Somebody's spending money, whether we're in a
Yes.
recession or not.
Yes.
Somebody's spending money. The thing is, are we receiving the money that's being
Yes.
spent, or are we simply the consumers, right? So
Yes.
you have to get out of that mindset. And Mo already told you how to do it, right? She's saying to you, invest in yourself, invest in a team that can do the things that you don't like to do. You don't have to do everything. So you don't have to be the chief cook, potter washer, and candlestick maker. You actually, there's somebody out there that actually loves administrative work. There's someone
Yes.
out there that loves marketing. There's someone out there that will take your business to the next level, because this is the part of the business they love. Mo likes to make you look beautiful. She likes to make sure she takes her client in a holistic approach and give them an experience, right? She doesn't necessarily want to sit behind the desk of a computer and submit a document 10 times, right? But there's agencies like my organization that can do that, right? So
Yes.
Mo already gave you a mouthful. She said, tag them in, invest in yourself. Don't be afraid of the price, and don't be afraid to ask for what you need. Sometimes it's just a matter of having a conversation with the consultant that's working with you to say, hey, here is how my money flows. Here is what I need to do. How do we get from here to here, and how do we work together? And you'll be very surprised that individuals that are in this space that can help you take you to the next level is willing to work with you and your budget. So Mo's already like, listen, here's what we need. So now, Mo, let's talk a bit more about this, because you gave us a whole bunch of nuggets, and I'm on, I got my little pen, I'm writing everything down, because I like this to be an opportunity for individuals that may not have the network, the tenacity, the drive that you have, to be able to see you as a role model, to be able to see you as the person that's doing it, and you're showing them how it's done. And you're not just, this is not just theory. You're absolutely talking about practice and the things that you've been able to do in both Wonderful Hair and Mo's Unisex Hair Hut. So we talked about some barriers, and there's a ton of them. One always comes to mind, and I need to ask you about this: access to capital for minority-owned business. That seems to be the number one. There's two: technology, right? So access to technical support and access to capital. So some of my business have said that is some of their biggest challenges. Do you find that in your space? Do you find those two things as obstacles or barriers for growth? And if so, how have you been able to maneuver around? Because you've been successful, and you are successful, and I'm speaking wealth into whatever else you're doing. So talk to me about access to capital and access to technical support, because one of the things that my business didn't understand, and you just mentioned it, you do need the technical support. You need to have all of your things in order, because when you need to be ready, so you don't have to get ready. So you need to tag in that marketing team if that's the direction that you're going in. Tag in someone to do your certifications if you're looking to do government contract. If you have a nonprofit organization, you got to tag in someone to write that grant for you, so that you're able to, and not just to write the grant, but to manage the grant. So a lot of individuals don't understand writing a grant is one part of the process, but managing the grant so that every dollar that is spent, the way it's spent, the way that it should be spent, so that you're able to get another grant, right? Because if you're not able to manage the first grant, you're not going to be successful in getting another grant. So talk to me a little bit about those barriers that I'm listening to small business talk about, because it's like I'm asking you so that you can answer for those small business that don't have access to you and to the work that you're doing here in the community.
Well, what I can say is that I think it's very important to connect with your community small business association organizations in your areas. They have a lot of knowledge and workshops to pour into you, and most of the time you can get something free that won't have to cost you, but the amount of knowledge that you get will be well worth it, especially if you don't know. Look for your Chamber of Commerce in your areas as well. Part of Harlem Women Chamber of Commerce. And I've even found that I was having trouble with my landlord, because I'm just the sole proprietor. And sometimes too, I deal with, the intimidation of, the men that own the brick and mortars, that are more powerful. And, they treat me like the minority that doesn't know anything, and try to railroad me in with my lease and not giving me certain clauses that should have been an option for me for business, thinking that I don't know things. I had certain clauses that just were not there in my lease that would have given me the security for the amount of time they wanted me to sign the lease for, or whatever was happening. And I was able to contact my Chamber of Commerce and get a delegate to come in and talk for me, and
Right.
also help educate me on what I needed to know to save for myself for another time or
Yes.
whatever. So look for your community resources in that area to pour knowledge into yourself. Because again, beauty school, they don't teach you everything. And even business won't teach you how to run a salon and how to deal with the community and how to have the longevity in that and where to reach out for just different resources that will keep you afloat and cause you some sort of stability in the business. So it's definitely important to look into any type of women's organizations, any type of community planning boards.
That's right.
If your salon is even doing well enough, you can talk to your district leaders, and have them point you in directions or help you just, figure out what you need to make sure that you can get the yes when you try to get any type of capital or any door open for yourself.
Right.
It's a lot of politics no matter what. It's politics in here. You know what I mean? It's politics in the real estate of having the commercial business and whatever area you're in. And, it's always a genocide going on, so especially on 125th Street, pretty soon they're going to be selling all these buildings. So what am I going to do then? I still need to be able to have some sort of access to something where if I get booted out or my landlord sells the building, I can get some kind of capital to go someplace else. So even now, I'm trying to educate myself further in how I can get a space through any type of funding and whatever I'm offering with teams and, whatever my community planning board will help me with.
Purchasing your own building.
Or some, yeah.
So
yeah.
You've covered a lot. Again, there's a ton of different resources. So because I covered New York, New Jersey before, and I've covered Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. So the SBDCs, the Small Business Development Centers, is what Mo was talking about. And they have resources available for technical support. They have resources available. They're connected to CDFIs, which can give you funding. They're connected to the Chambers of Commerce. Mo also mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. We have the pleasure, Mo and I, Princess has Women in the Black, which is a great organization in the Harlem area, and they provide resources continually to members, and the membership is free. There's also the Women's Chamber, and then there's the Black Chambers, and then there's the Brooklyn Chamber and the Manhattan Chamber. So there's a lot of chambers that are offering technical support and resources, and they have teams on board that can walk you through a lot of what Mo was talking about. She also mentioned Small Business Services, and that's the New York City agency that is able, but all cities and states and municipalities have organizations that work with their small business because they realize small business are the engines that drive our economy. So they're working with you. So look if wherever you are, what space you are in the world, look for your city, municipality, your territories, small business association, small business organization, chambers, community boards that can help you with the technical support. And also have a relationship with your banker, right? So wherever you're doing a business at, make sure you're having a relationship with your banker so that if you do have an issue or concern and you are in need of access to capital, they can also guide you in the right direction. So Mo has really, covered all of that and explaining to you the access to capital and the technology support. And so basically what she is encouraging you to do is to tap into the resources in your community, in your city, in your state, in your municipality to be able to take it to the next level. So, we're going to take a quick commercial break, Mo, and we will be right back. And we're going to dig a little more into best practices and big ideas and let our listening audience know what else they can do to take it to the next level. So we're going to take a quick commercial break.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news? Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news? Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
Metro New York's port services are currently constrained and challenged in facilitating the handling of international cargo. It's time for a whole new ballgame. Just 55 miles north of the city, Stewart Airport, closed during the base realignment, is an underutilized resource that could be maximized and bring growth to the area and relieve New York City. It's an ideal place for a thriving supply chain center of regional excellence, called SCORE. We intend to support the New York and New Jersey Port Authority's commitment to the New York International Plaza, putting it at the forefront of a transformation of regional global trade, telecommunications, and economic growth. A logistics-based regenerative smart city that supplies an interactive platform of data and document interoperability to optimize resources. SCORE will transform this location into a thriving hub that can process and distribute cargo via various methods of transportation, elevating it to one of the world's best intermodal ports. We aim to build a cybersecure network operations center, that enables customers to share data in real time across the supply chain and across the whole region, utilizing eco-friendly practices to keep things running efficiently. And it doesn't stop there. Not only will SCORE develop high-speed wireless networks in a data-driven city to improve logistics and facilitate international trade, it will also create critical infrastructure for regional economic development. By optimizing the business environment, attracting startups and investment, supporting the development of high-value industries such as medical, education, technology, and hospitality, creating new employment opportunities for the region. SCORE will inject vibrancy and inspire prosperity in an underutilized area to develop a greener and more livable smart city that thrives, bringing excellence to the Hudson Valley. It's a game changer. Visit IC Logistics to learn how you can support this SCORE Economic Development Initiative at Stewart Airport.
Welcome back to the Coaxum Report. So when we went on our break, we were talking to Mo, and Monet was telling us about a lot of different nuggets. So take out your pens. She got a lot more nuggets to go. We talked about some of the barriers, and the barriers in Monet's field. One of the biggest barriers, of course, was COVID. And so she was able to pivot because of COVID and get outside of just being in a brick and mortar space and be able to expand into working with young people and doing wonderful things with them, working with people that were struggling with hair loss and looking at some of the opportunities in the community. Mo also talked about all of the things that she did as far as to invest in herself. So she invested in her education. She invested in her network to get all these different opportunities. She invested in her minority business certification to become a certified business owner. She also started her nonprofit organization, which she'll talk a little bit more about, that is able now to invest back into our young people as well. She talked about the resources that she was able to use to get to the next level. So the Small Business Administration, the federal government Small Business Administration, Small Business Services, which is the New York City version of small business. She looked at the SBDCs, the Small Business Development Centers, and was able to work with them to gain the knowledge, the resources, and the opportunities to be able to take her business to the next level. Mo also talked about investing in marketing in your business and your online presence and all of the technology spaces that you need, and then not being afraid to hire someone. If there is something that you are unable to do, tagging in individuals to be able to do that work, whether you're tagging them in with in-kind services or you're tagging them in to work on your team, but making sure that you're able to, one, know what you need. And Mo was smart enough to really look and see what her company needed and then tagged in other people to help with that need, as opposed to just having someone in with a cookie cutter approach. And so that's one of the things that I really need my small businesses to do, is to invest in finding out what your company needs first, because you're the boots on the ground. So you're the expert. You understand what you need more than anyone else. And so having them come in and assess your business, but knowing what you believe you need before they start doing their work, would really make a more fruitful relationship between you and anyone else that you're tagging in to help you with the resources. And then when we ended, we were talking a little bit more about how she's pivoting into other spaces, and want her to talk about the nonprofit organization, which she is now working in, and also having the young people, the things that she's doing with young people, which I'm really excited about, because I'm always excited about young people being able to look beautiful, feel beautiful, because it builds their confidence, and in their confidence, it builds a better person. And so I'm going to tag you back in, Mo. You talked to us about barriers. You talked about best practices. What are your big ideas? What are some of your big ideas? that you're thinking about right now that is going to take us to the next level in your experience and the Mo experience? Because this is a whole experience. You know, she don't want you to just come get your hair did. She wants you to come and enjoy the experience.
Yeah. Well, my new biggest idea really is with my wonderful hair, where I want to be able to provide free services for the clients and other people who have maybe low income families, men, women, and even children who are in need of medical wigs, who may be burn victims or suffering from alopecia and other types of hair loss, and they really can't afford those wigs and those type of services, and they're suffering from whatever their hair choices are. I want to be able to come in and offer them inspiration,
Wow.
donate wig services, or
Nice.
whatever we can actually offer, and be able to give back and help those people build their self-esteem and feel
Nice.
better out in the community, especially like the children. I'm sure it would be horrible having to wear a wig as a little girl, and you feel like you have this hat on and everybody knows that this, no matter how great it looks, you feel like everybody knows it's not your hair and you have to deal with that for your whole life. I find that to be like an extreme trauma for anyone or any child or even a man to have to go through. And I experience this with my clients. So my biggest venture right now is being able to give back those type of things to the clients. I've had a very long stretch in business. And there is a lot of wealth in the beauty business if you can build a clientele. And I feel like as I mature into my retirement plans, I want to be able to give back, on a consistent basis. So
Awesome.
that's like my biggest thing I'm working on.
Awesome. And I think and I mean, you're doing God's work. Because the one thing that we know about young people is they have this sense of, right? They have this sense of belonging. They have this
Mm-hmm.
sense of, I need friends. They have this sense of,
Mm-hmm.
clinging on to things. But if they can feel the confidence in themselves because they look beautiful and they feel beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and someone like you really care about their appearance in more than one way, and you express that with the services that you're now doing at the school, um, it really is, you're changing the generations, right? And you're absolutely correct. It is trauma, right? Especially when you're looking at a young cancer patient that can't grow their own hair or don't feel beautiful in their skin, and you come in and you do this makeover, right? And this person keeps looking in the mirror like, oh my God, is that me? But in that moment, they're able to see the beauty that you see inside of them. And that's one thing about being in the beauty business. I mean, it is a beauty business altogether, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're in that space, when your client walks in your door, you are able to envision the beauty within them before they can see it on the outside. And
Mm-hmm.
so being able to transform them in that seat, or being able to go to them and create that piece, that prosthetic, that wig, whatever that is that is uniquely theirs,
Mm-hmm.
helps them get through so much in life because it's how they show up. You see a
Mm-hmm.
person before you hear a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to do that in the space that you're in, I commend you on that. And I commend you on this endeavor. And I know you're going to go really, really far because you've already stated, we talked about barriers. You was like, barrier solution. Barrier solution. You was ready. You was like, so some of the barriers are access to capital, but then there are all of these resources that you can tap into. And some of the barriers were being shut down because of COVID, but then you go out into the community and you offer the services to the community. So another barrier can be, dealing with landlords that are looking to sell the building that you're in, but the solution is to find your own building and be your own landlord. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Right. Try to at least prepare your business to be able to get a yes.
that's right. That's right.
Whatever you need to do, you need to be able to prepare whoever you need to talk to. You need to figure out what you got to do so that they can say yes.
That's right. And I think it's extremely important that Mo is talking about this at this time because we're going into the summer months, right? And so there are a lot of ventures that start off and take off in the summer months. And so Mo is like offering you these nuggets for you to now go to YouTube University, go to Google University and be able to look up your business, look what you're doing in your business and figure out what the next thing that's trending. What's the thing that you need to perfect in order to get to the next level? And I think that that's really important, especially when Mo started talking about, I expanded my mind. I went back to looking at what else can I do now? COVID is here and it's happening. That's fine. But now what else can I do? And you invested in that. You invested in yourself. And I think that's one of the biggest nuggets from this conversation that a lot of small businesses don't do. They let their business run them, and they're not running their business. And so in investing in your mind, investing in services, and figuring out what the next thing is in trending, you are investing in your business because you are your business, and it's how you're showing up.
Yes. And don't be afraid, to build a team. You can't be a superhero all your life.
Right.
You might be the great hairstylist and you're running the show and got the clients and everything is in the palm of your hand. But everybody has their time. And while it's your time, before you have to elevate to what makes it your time the next time, you got to make sure you get that team together and create your whole environment for success, or your moment might be gone and you'll find yourself treading through trying to figure out, what am I going to do now?
Right.
I see a lot of great hairstylists end up with city jobs and state jobs and other things. And you would have thought they were sitting on top of the world, but now they're just working hard because they want to have a retirement future. And it's something that you have to keep in mind so that you can create that for yourself, because they don't teach you that in beauty school. It doesn't happen just working behind the chair salon. It's something that you have to begin to think about while your time is there. So when you get further on in life, you're not looking back with all the time you wasted and what you didn't put together and what you didn't know. And now you're scrambling just to have, a peaceful retirement.
Right.
You could be eating canned ravioli or you could be eating lobster tails. You got to figure that out, though. But you have to know that, because it's happening so fast and life is going so fast that before you know it, years have gone by and you're not prepared.
So preparation, that's another nugget.
Absolutely.
Being prepared, understanding what you need to put aside. So investing in that financial future, right?
Yes.
So not just spending the money for spending money, investing in a portfolio that's going to build dividends for you in the end, so that you are able to retire and be, in a good place. The other thing that I can say, even if you're working in a city, state, or federal job, if you don't invest in your retirement, you still won't be able to retire.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you work.
That's right.
But that's right. At least if you understand that, and I tell people all the time, the part of financial success is paying yourself first, right? So 10% to yourself and 10% to your penance to God, just by way of being here. So 20% comes off the top, and everything else is invested back into the business, into your lifestyle, or whatever that is. But you take that 20% off, because as Mo said, when time is fleeting and you look back, you have that 10% that you've invested in yourself that is now making money for you. And you need to invest in a way that's making money for you in your sleep. You don't want to have to think about where that 10% went. You want to make sure you invest in it in a place that it can grow for you. And that is your retirement plan. Remember when I was growing up, Mo, my mom used to always say, you need a rainy day fund. I said, I don't need no rainy day fund. I need a good day all the time fund. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm putting my money aside, but I'm not expecting a rainy day. I don't want just a rainy day to have me enjoy my money. I want to see my money make money for me, so it's good day all the time.
And sometimes, especially when you're young, you start off as a young stylist and life is great and everything is good, and you can get what you want and pay for what you need. You don't really think about tomorrow, because who's thinking about being older, And then you look back in life and you realize you've been doing hair for 32 years like me. Wait a minute. There's some instructions that were not in the handbook. What am I going to do now? Because you can't do everything forever. You have to move over. Other people growing up, you're moving out. They're coming up, you're moving out. What are you going to do when you move over? So this is how I got into considering hair education, while my craft is still interesting, and while I'm still somebody to look at, let me start educating others.
That's right.
And helping that move over easy for myself.
But not only that, you're building a legacy.
Yes.
You're building a legacy through this.
Yes. I'm giving myself a little extra dignity. So this is my plan of dignity. I feel like, I would like to become an educator more often now, And now I'll be, Miss Mo the educator. I won't be just the type.
That's fine
Yes,
because
yes, yes,
you're still investing in your craft by investing in other people. I always tell people I want to
yes.
die empty, right? I want to take everything that I've gained in this life and be able to pour it into others so that they can be successful. And that way I may be dead in my body form, but my legacy
Mhm.
is gone
Right.
through the things that I'm able to contribute. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're saying I want to be able to educate them in this craft. I want to be able
Yes.
to educate young people. I want to be able to work with burn victims. I want to be able to work with those that are sick or taking medication. I want to
Mhm.
be able to pour into them because
Mhm.
by helping them be great, then I'm great as well.
Yes, yes. It's very rewarding, and
I'm
I think
glad to hear.
it's a good place and feeling. I feel like to be in.
So now let's talk about, we talked about the barriers, we talked about some best practices, and I hate to say this, we're running out of time, but
Mhm.
I want to hit on some big ideas, right? So one of the big ideas, of course, is having this organization where you're pouring back into your craft by
Yeah.
pouring back into others and training them and, giving them these nuggets that you've given us today. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. All of the things that you've been able to do along the way to get over the hurdles and the obstacles and to be able to be successful in your space. So now, as we're thinking about that moving forward, I want you to think about or share with us some of your big ideas before we get to some of the solutions. What are some of the big ideas around having this organization that train people? Like, what do you envision that being to the world, not just to New York City, right? Not just to New Jersey, um, but the world. Like, what do you want that to show up to be? Because that is a legacy.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to partner unitedly with different cancer organizations and dermatologists and inspirational and life coaches in various states where we can, have outreach and maybe even have retreats. And hopefully we can even have a few centers where it's not just an in salon place that you're coming to, but like an in center place where we have everything set up, where we have our inspiration room and we have our dermatology on staff and we have the people where you can come in and we can even offer low income services financially and stuff like that where the organization may not be able to cover you long term, but we can help you with partials or whatever we'll be able to raise in our donations and get funding for. um, I would like it to be more of a center and just have it in various, different locations in the United States for now.
So
And mhm.
first of all, we're gonna change your language, not hoping what you will do, what you are
Okay,
doing, right?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
building that center that will have all of those things to offer around the world, not
mhm,
just here in the United States, but around the world. Because what we find is that there are a lot of individuals that don't live in the United States that need this service even more, and there are organizations out there that are willing to fund these services for these individuals, and you have the skill to go and do it. And so
mhm,
what we hope and what we're looking to do, not
yes,
just hoping to do, but what we're working towards is to
mhm,
build this center that will be throughout the United States and internationally as well. And I think that this is such a noble cause that you're taking on. I mean, I see the joy in your face when you tell me about
I'm
taking the
super excited.
prosthetic classes and when you talk about all the different services that you're offering, when you're talking about working with cancer patients and burn victims and those that have lupus or sickle cell, just making them look beautiful every day, right? So I'm super excited as well. I heard you say I'm super excited. I'm super excited as well because I already know what a wonderful experience you will be creating for every individual that comes across that threshold. The other part of it is you're offering a suite of services. So you're not
Mhm,
just having, I'm doing your hair, you're talking about having dermatologists, you
mhm,
having the makeup artist, you're probably going to have a tailor someplace to just make them really enjoy the experience and then show them how to do it at home. So you don't want to just give
mhm,
them an experience and then let them walk away not understanding how to upkeep, but
mhm,
actually doing the
mhm,
body work at home. And you're doing that right now. Like when you offer your wig services, you're showing people, okay, here is how you can keep your wig looking fresh and maintaining it until you see me again, right? So
mhm,
you're going to be offering that same kind of service to the individuals that come across this your threshold throughout the United States and internationally. And so I want to commend you on that. And I'm looking forward to, have you coming back talking about what, once this is realized, because we already know it's here, right? We're speaking into the
Yeah.
universe. Once
Yeah.
you're able to purchase your first building and we walk through the door, I want to be one of the first people that walk through the door with you and
Yes.
offer
Would love. Yeah.
and offer a highlight. Yeah, you heard it on Coaxum Report.
Yeah. Yeah. And here we are. And that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And even going forward, bringing the girls into. I'm doing a free wig program at
Nice.
my salon for the summer. It's really for like 4 weeks, but I'll be sponsoring all the hair and everything. And I would like to take that into the centers with us and be able to have the free wig programs there for the teens, and and have it a whole hair experience, I guess, a wonderful hair life.
That's right.
you know,
As they should. So,
yeah,
I'm sorry to say that we are running out of time. And so
yeah,
we have a few more minutes left. And I told you it was going to go by fast.
yeah, I get it. But I look forward to coming back again. It's been real
Absolutely.
good.
I'm going to have you back again. Absolutely. So I want you to share some final thoughts as we're closing out the show. First of all, I want to thank you again for coming in and sharing this experience to us. So those who are just listening, this is Mo Shepherd, the founder of Wonderful Hair Inc. and the owner of Mo's Unisex Hair Hut here in New York City. And if you want to see this again, you can absolutely see the rebroadcast on Tempo. If you're watching live, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, we're on Roku. I encourage you to download our app, OurTV.network, and watch us each week. And so we're coming to a close of this show. And Mo's, promised to come back, once she purchases her first building and we walk through that door and see the smiles and experiences that are happening, the magic. We see the magic that's going to be happening and Wonderful Hair. And I'm so excited to be a part of this. So, Mo, I want you to leave with us some final thoughts. One, I just want you to think about Mo, a younger Mo, right? And what would you tell her about where you are right now? And then leave a parting word with the listening audience.
Well, what I will say is that the only thing to be afraid of is failure. Everything else is really there at your fingertips. You just have to be aware of what's always happening around you and keep pushing through and keep educating yourself and keep watching what's happening, because beauty and fashion and hair is a movement. It's constantly changing and rotating, but we're coming back around at the same time. You just have to stay in the know. Don't close your eyes and get closed-minded. Don't just try one thing. Try everything.
Right. And then failure is just an opportunity for you to do it another way.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And so what would your final thought be to our listening audience? They've listened to the show throughout the end. And if you want to leave one parting word with them, what would that be? One parting mantra, motto, sentence, theme.
Well, just always remember, and I tell my clients this, that your hands are the face of their image. So just know that no matter what you're doing, as long as they're happy, you're making everyone beautiful, and you're making the world around them beautiful to them and them beautiful to others.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing this experience with us. I'm looking forward to having you back on the show, and I hope you have a super amazing day on purpose. Thanks for being on the Coaxum Report. Bye for now. Take care.